Matt Hart with the Illinois Trucking Association. Thanks so much for joining us on the Illinois channel. And we are here now, as everyone else is, locked down. And so even though we're both in Springfield, we're going to be using the advantage of doing this interview over the internet. And Matt, as everyone knows, we can go out of our house if we need to go, among other places, to the grocery store, the gas station, and of course, the only reason those places have any supplies is because the truckers are continuing to work. So, one, thanks to you and your entire industry for keeping the economy supplied so that we all can stay at home. Give us an overview, if you would. I know you had, as we sit here today on Thursday, the 26th of March, you've been on a couple of conference calls today and talking with your peers across the nation. What's the big picture and how successful is the supply chain from what you know?
Sure. Well, thanks, Terry, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be on with you and all your viewers. The trucking industry has definitely been pushed to its limits the last few days, last several weeks, and our entire supply chain has been pushed to its limits. But I think most folks will find how successful our supply chain is, even though we've had multiple runs on certainly toilet paper, but regular food items, at one point gasoline, fuel, that our supply chain has continued to replenish stock very, very quickly. We haven't heard any instances where any grocery stores have closed down or gas stations or diesel stations have closed down because they didn't have supplies. We've been able to replenish and restock. We've been working overtime to do that. And we've been given some emergency declarations to do that. We've been given a federal emergency declaration from the hours of service regulations. There are federal laws that tell a truck driver he can't drive more than 11 hours in a day. Those have been relaxed if you are directly involved in resupplying or restocking due to the COVID-19. And then in addition to that, early last week, the Illinois Department of Transportation also issued authorization for trucks to haul a little bit more weight. Right now, most trucks are limited to hauling 80,000 pounds, and the Illinois Department of Transportation said that if you need to restock or resupply due to the COVID-19 situation, they're actually going to give you an extra 10% in weight, and that has helped out particularly our fuel haulers. It's helped out our grocery haulers as we restock and we resupply to keep folks at home supplied with the food and the things that they need.
As you are sitting here, and of course we just had the Senate yesterday, or maybe in the wee hours of today, pass the $2 trillion financial rescue package. Is that something that when it finally passes, it's expected to pass the House on Friday and the president will sign it, is that going to help out the Trucking Association? And because you've continued to work, to what extent do truckers need any assistance? Let me leave there now, then we'll follow up.
Yeah, we're watching very closely what's going on in Washington, D.C. We're seeing what we expect to be COVID assistance package number 3, which we know there's agreement that's been reached in the Senate. We expect that to pass the Senate, or we know it's passed the Senate. We expect it to pass the House by Friday and be signed by the president over the weekend. We also know that we learned today that through our discussions with our other state trucking associations and our American trucking associations in Washington, D.C., that they are actually already working on a 4th package that may have some more direct impact to the trucking industry. But in the short term, as long as the economy is moving and as long as people are buying things, that's what drives the trucking industry. Terry, we haul more than 70% of the nation's freight. And every single grocery store may not be on a railroad, it may not be in a port, but every single grocery store is on a road. So we can service every single grocery store, we can service every single community with a truck. So it's important that Americans continue to buy things. It's important that they continue to have jobs. It's important that we continue to manufacture things in Illinois so that people continue to buy things, and we'll keep moving things in the trucking industry.
Is there? We joke almost as a society right now about running out of toilet paper, but yet when we go to the store, those shelves are empty, paper towels and things. Is there any message you could send to those people who seem to be determined to be hoarders in this, as to is there any reason that they should be hoarding these products?
There is absolutely no reason to hoard products, and I want to stress to folks and tell your friends, the grocery stores are not going to close. The warehouses are not going to close. The trucking industry is not going to close. We're going to continue to provide those products to people. And what a lot of people don't understand is that when you walk into a grocery store, what they don't know is that there are warehouses and warehouses and warehouses full of of more stocks of toilet paper. There's warehouses and warehouses full of these giant rolls of paper that will get cut down into toilet paper. And in a matter of days and hours, we can manufacture more toilet paper. We're not going to run out of toilet paper. There's no reason to hoard toilet paper. There's no reason to overbuy supplies. The trucking industry is going to continue to provide our grocery stores. Our grocery stores are going to continue to stay open, and folks are going to have the opportunity to restock and replenish.
It's an important thing for everyone to understand. Just, chill out, calm down. And I think this just goes, thanks for updating us on that, because people just don't know the supply chain, and that the grocery store is not the first line of defense. It's the last line before it goes to the consumers, as you just mentioned. As you sit here and your guys are doing the jobs you're doing and always do, because we are always reliant on truckers, as you said, carrying so much of the nation's supplies. Is there anything, as we are taping your interview, we just came out of a press conference by the governor, and people know he's been doing this daily. Is there anything that you would say to the governor, anything he could be doing or anyone else in state government that would help the Illinois Trucking Association out?
Well, I tell you, we think the governor's doing a great job. We reached out to the governor last week just to make sure that when there was discussions about possibly having some businesses closed down, we want to make sure that trucking wasn't included in that. And then I was called that evening by Secretary of IDOT, Omar Osman, and he assured us that the IDOT and the governor's administration is committed to the trucking industry, and they know that they need us to continue to supply our citizens. And so we work very closely with them in that regard. We've also talked to them about our rest areas. It's very important right now for the truck drivers that are out there. They need a safe place to be able to stop, take a break, use restroom facilities. And it's important that our rest areas stay open. We learned last week Pennsylvania temporarily shut down all 30 of their rest areas. That's not safe for truck drivers. That's not safe for anybody traveling on the highway. And so IDOT assured us that they will continue to keep our rest areas open. As long as the contractors who clean their rest areas are able to work and willing to work, the restrooms will stay open. And even if the contractors, for whatever reason, said that their workers, for safety purposes, couldn't work, they will leave the parking areas open so that our trucks can at least park and get the rest that they need. But in addition to that, right now we know we're looking at April 7th what our current stay-at-home ordinance is issued. What we are beginning to see is in the trucking industry is we need state agencies to be open. We still need to be able to get a license plate. We have some companies are actually hiring drivers right now because we're trying to move all the things that people want. Well, you can't get a new CDL in Illinois right now, and you won't be able to get a new CDL in Illinois until at least April 8th. And if the declaration gets extended, it could be longer than that. And so we're concerned. We want to protect the safety of the Secretary of State employees, but we also need to find some ways so that people can get a new CDL, so that we can get new truck drivers behind the wheel, and also to prevent future backlogs. Because the longer that this drags on, the more that the state agencies are going to be backed up, whether they're processing driver's licenses, processing license plates, processing anything. There's going to be a backlog, and so we're trying to work with everybody and trying to work through this situation. But we're hopeful that the situation is temporary and that we can find ways to at least as we slowly come back online, hopefully sooner rather than later, that we can serve the citizens of Illinois.
You're the Illinois Trucking Association. You have, on the other hand, truckers, by virtue of the job, moving around the country. There's been some discussion, so far it hasn't gone anywhere, about closing down transportation so that one person can't go to another state. Is that a concern? And should it be a concern?
I don't think that's realistic. I don't know of any states that have the authority to actually close their states to interstate commerce, and we've had those discussions of how far government could go. But more importantly, Terry, I think everybody knows how important the trucking industry is. We've got studies that we've had for decades in the American Trucking Association that said that if trucks just stopped, that Americans would be out of supplies, within a matter of days. We learned in the last couple of weeks that's true if people are consuming on a regular pace. But when people go in and buy extra, that happens even quicker. And so I don't think there's anybody out there who wants to stop the trucking industry. We certainly hope that there's not anybody that would want to be out there stopping trucks from delivering the medical supplies, delivering the food that folks need, delivering the devices that the medical community needs right now to treat the folks who are getting sick. And so that's not a concern for us, right now. But again, we're asking people to support our industry and allow us to keep doing our job.
Yeah, I know before this COVID infection all came up, the trucking industry needed more drivers. If someone is out there, unemployment now is going to be higher. Maybe there were some people who were looking to have a change of careers in any event. If someone wants to be a driver, what should they do? Who should they call? Where can they get information on what's involved in becoming a driver?
Yeah. We definitely need truck drivers, Terry. There's no doubt. And even before the COVID-19 situation, we definitely needed truck drivers. We've identified a large truck driving shortage. It's in the tens of thousands today. If we don't do anything to help this in the future, we're looking at being in the hundred, needing over 100,000 drivers within a matter of years. There's 300,000 men and women that work in the trucking industry in Illinois, and that's one out of every 17 jobs. So trucking is a great industry to be in. Most of those jobs are truck drivers. Usually about 60 to 80% of our jobs are truck drivers. One of the ways to become a truck driver is you can go to a local community. Most community colleges have a truck driver training school. There's private truck driver training schools, and there's also a lot of trucking companies that will train you. But it's something where if you believe in safety, if you're not afraid to drive a larger vehicle and drive it in a way that you can protect your vehicle and also protect those that you're driving around. Truck driver might be a good job for you. I'll tell you, as someone who has a CDL and has driven a semi on the highways, we're constantly looking out for the other people on the road, and that's who we want driving our trucks. And so, if that's you, I recommend you go talk to a trucking company, talk to a truck driver training school. It usually takes the training usually encompasses usually at least about 4 weeks of training at most community college training schools, sometimes a little bit longer. We're going to gradually phase you into to being able to drive that truck because it's not easy, but it is a rewarding career.
Yeah, in fact, I just not too long ago happened to interview someone before the virus broke out here who was running a truck driving school, and that's I think what they said, about 4 weeks or so. And it can pay very good money. And the other thing is, I think people don't understand is you might be an over-the-road truck driver driving across the country, but a lot of jobs are local, where you could be home every night with your family at the end of the day. I mean, when you think of all the Amazon drivers that are driving stuff and just local deliveries, etc. I think the people always think they have to be away from their family for months, but that's not necessarily true in the trucking industry.
No, and that's definitely changed over the years, Terry. The younger generations, get into trucking. The people, the workforce that's in their 20s and 30s now, they're not like their parents and grandparents who weren't afraid to get on the road and be gone for long periods of time. We know the generation now, family time is more important, home time is more important. And so the trucking companies have adapted, the supply chains adapted. One of the unique things about Illinois is when you look at Illinois strategically, particularly the Chicagoland area. The Chicagoland area is within 500 miles or one-day drive from a truck. We can reach one-third of the nation's GDP. That's one-third of every single producer in this country is within a one-day drive of Chicago. And a lot of times we have drivers that can be in and out on that same day. One of my friends who's a professional truck driver, he actually drives every day from Indianapolis, and he drives back and forth every day, and he's home. So yeah, and we know that, and we want to keep people home if we can keep them home. Obviously, the longer you're willing to stay out on the road, there might be opportunities to make more money. But certainly, there's a lot of really good jobs where people can be home every night working in the trucking industry.
Matt, before we close out, we appreciate all this update on there. And is there anything else that we should know or that you would want to send a message to anyone in government, either at the state or federal level?
Terry, I think right now, just a couple of things I would say. Number one, is for the folks that are out there, when you see a truck driver, just let them know, just thank them. The trucking industry has been pushed to limits as we've been resupplying and restocking America over the last couple of weeks. And then to our elected officials, again, thank our truck drivers as well, and also just keep our vehicles on the road. Give us the opportunity to do our job and deliver all the goods that Americans need.
Well, Matt Hart with the Illinois Trucking Association, we appreciate you taking the time to update us on that. Good luck to you and all those who work in the trucking industry. And we will look forward to talking with you again soon as we need to update the people out there on what's going on. And don't hoard, right?
Exactly. Please don't hoard. The trucks are going to continue to roll. The stores are continuing to stay open. We'll get you supplied. We got you covered.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. And while you're at it, please leave us a comment. Thank you for watching.